Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
A federal court in California blocks the enforcement of the change therapy law. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, this case in California is a case that we've been involved in from the very beginning. There was a second case that was also filed on behalf of counselors. In our case, we represent counselors, parents, children, and counseling organizations against this change therapy law that goes into effect January 1 that says, effective that day, January 1, 2013, counselors cannot offer any therapy or counseling that would seek to reduce or eliminate same-sex sexual attractions, and clients, minors, cannot receive such counseling. It's a viewpoint-based discrimination. A judge now has blocked it, indicating that it is unlikely that this would be held constitutional at the final trial. This is good news at this point.
That's right, Judge. U.S. District Judge William Shub has said that this is unlikely to withstand constitutional scrutiny, that it does have an effect on speech, a quote, and that to regulate this kind of conduct is to regulate speech, and that is unconstitutional. We've been saying that all along. There's an ongoing medical or scientific debate, if you will, as to the benefits of change therapy versus the alleged harm that can be caused by change therapy. Anecdotal, and we have some people that are now activists who have gone through change therapy, but they're former clients turned activists who are alleging harm. But the reality is this, as you have pointed out over and over again, Matt, that this case isn't about change therapy. This case is about attack on an individual's freedom of choice, self-determination, parental rights, the individual rights of a child to determine his own life and the own path for his life, and really the unbelievable attacks that are ramping up just in recent months from the radical homosexual activist lobby.
It is almost inconceivable that a state would come into a counseling session, which is what they're wanting to do, January 1, and tell the counselor that you can only give one viewpoint now on same-sex attractions. You can only tell your client that same-sex attractions are good, natural, and normal. You can only encourage them and support them in these same-sex attractions, but you can't actually tell them not to act on them or to reduce them, even though the client wants to. And the client, while the state walks into that counseling room, is seeking counsel to not act on same-sex attractions. They want to default and have priority with their religious and moral values, which is contrary to that. And the state is saying, you can't get that viewpoint. The only viewpoint you can get is, it's okay, pursue them. That's just inconceivable that the state would have the audacity to think that they could come in and interfere with the counseling process like this.
Well, Matt, it's par for the course. We've talked about this over and over again. The radical homosexual activist lobby, we owe Hy Feldblum, who is President Obama's appointee to the EEOC, radical lesbian activist from former Georgetown law professor. She has said that when newfangled so-called gay rights come into conflict with freedom of speech and religious liberty, that gay rights trump our enumerated First Amendment constitutional rights. This is a great example of that. This is tyranny of the minority. They are trying to shut down any debate, any traditional values or biblical values relative to homosexual behavior. They're trying to shut it down under penalty of law. This is outrageous.
Yeah, under this particular law, effective January 1, a counselor that has a client, brand new client, or in this particular case, clients that they've already been counseling. Like in this case, we have one of our clients is a minor, and the parents have consented to this counseling. They've sought out this counseling. He's been in counseling for now nearly 16 months. Is enjoying the counseling, benefiting from the counseling, has had great results. The self-esteem has gone up, the anxiety has gone down, the relationship with the other peers is much, much better. The relationship with the parents has improved. But January 1, this counsel that this individual will get if this law were to go into effect, is all of the information that we've been telling you for these last year and a half, we're going to reverse it 180 degrees. You don't want to act on those same-sex attractions. I understand that, but now we're in a different world. And so what we're going to tell you, by virtue of the force of the state, is that you ought to act on those. We're going to encourage you to act on those same-sex attractions. But the client says, but I don't want to. I don't want these same-sex attractions. I haven't acted on them, and I want to ultimately be able to reduce them. I want to eliminate them from my life. That's what my goal is. That's my right to self-determination. And California says, no, it's not your right. You're going to be forced to get one viewpoint, and that is these same-sex attractions, you ought to pursue them. It's your religious values we've got to change. That's unbelievable. And if the counselor actually gives the counsel, the counselor could lose their license because of a so-called ethical violation.
There's a word for this. It's tyrannical.
It is tyrannical.
And it's in the irony here and the hypocrisy coming from the proponents of this law, people like Shannon Minter, who is the national president of the National Center for Lesbian Rights. Here's what's amazing. This is a woman who now believes, is laboring under the delusion that she's a man and has changed her appearance to look like a man. They encourage people who are struggling with gender identity disorder to go in and to actually, they say you can change your objective biological gender, but even something that they claim is goes along a continuum, sexual orientation as they call it, that can't change, and they're trying to pigeonhole kids into a gay identity. The hypocrisy there is outstanding, and the inconsistency, the incongruity. You can change your biology, but you can't change your sexual preferences or attractions. It's absurd.
Well, and in fact, the literature shows, and even the American Psychological Association actually points out that young adolescents that are experiencing same-sex attractions more often than not spontaneously stop feeling those without counsel. Yeah. So they may ultimately have a time where they're having same-sex attractions, but spontaneously they go away as they get older. And in fact, there's also studies that show that this is fluid across the board. So what they want you to do is actually say that you cannot change your same-sex attraction. Somebody comes in and says, listen, I've got these same-sex attractions, even if they've been sexually molested, like somebody like the likes of Jerry Sandusky. And then as a result of that anger, and they start to act out or reenact that sexual molestation that they've experienced as a victim. Now they want to now act it out. They haven't acted out. They're saying to that individual, you're doomed and you're going to have those for the rest of your life, so just get used to it. Let's modify your religious beliefs. When that defies reality, it defies the people who have actually changed.
Yeah. They want to forcibly define these children struggling with same-sex attractions as gay or lesbian, even if and when those children don't want to adopt that identity. So much for freedom of choice.
And it's always a default away from heterosexuality.
Yes. Yeah.
It's never. What about this? What about the person who is heterosexual? They want you to change from that to something that is abnormal, so that their abnormal reality can become normal.
Oh, great point. They celebrate, the man who's been married. People like Gene Robinson, who is a bishop in the Episcopalian Church, who was married, had a family, abandoned his family, took up with some man, had an affair with a man. They celebrate somebody who leaves a life of heterosexuality, abandons their family, and adopts a gay identity as finally finding themselves. Yet somebody who does the converse or the reverse, they say that that's impossible. The inconsistency is mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling. Well, so far right now, an injunction has been entered by a federal court in Sacramento, which is good news, meaning that it will not go into effect on January 1, 2013. But that also means that there's going to be a lot more litigation for the ultimate resolution of this case. This is a huge issue because once it began in California, there were bills filed in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, and other people want to export this to other places around the country to literally force homosexuality as good and normal within the counseling realm, causing significant damage and interference with counselors, parents, and certainly those individuals that are seeking this kind of counseling and that benefit from it. Thank you for standing with us in your prayers and your financial support. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, ask for my book, Same-Sex Marriage, Putting Every Household at Risk. If this case doesn't actually underscore that subtitle, Putting Every Household at Risk, this tyranny of California, then nothing does. Go to the Liberty Counsel website, lc.org. Ask for the book, Same-Sex Marriage, Putting Every Household at Risk, or you can call 1-800-671-1776. Sign up for the Liberty Alert and our Grassroots Action email as well. There's other resources there. Remember, Liberty Counsel in your prayers and financial support.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.